All faulty wiring located in the unused and unfinished second-floor storage space can be removed, except for a potential single light fixture controlled by a switch at the bottom of the stairs for minimal lighting. According to the National Electrical Code, there are no specific minimum requirements for lighting or convenience outlets in unfinished storage spaces in commercial buildings. However, some general guidelines can be considered. Firstly, provide sufficient lighting to allow for safe access and egress. This may include a single light fixture controlled by a switch at the bottom of the stairs. Secondly, there is no specific requirement for convenience outlets in unfinished storage spaces. However, it may be desirable to install one or two outlets for occasional use. There are a few considerations to keep in mind. Firstly, safety. Ensure that all wiring is removed properly and safely, including any disconnected wires that could pose a hazard. Secondly, accessibility. Provide adequate lighting for safe access to the storage space. Thirdly, future use. Consider any potential future uses of the storage space and ensure that the lighting and outlet requirements meet those needs. Fourthly, code compliance. Always consult local building codes and the National Electrical Code to ensure that all electrical work meets code requirements. It is recommended to remove all bad wiring in the unfinished storage space, install a single light fixture controlled by a switch at the bottom of the stairs for minimal lighting, and consider installing one or two convenience outlets if necessary. Removing the faulty wiring improves safety and reduces the risk of electrical hazards. Installing a light controlled by a switch provides basic illumination for safe entry and exit. Adding convenience outlets offers flexibility for future use of the space, even if it's primarily for storage. Always prioritize safety when dealing with electrical wiring. Make sure the power is turned off to the circuits you're working on, and use appropriate personal protective equipment. If you're not comfortable doing the work yourself, hire a qualified electrician. Proper removal of old wiring involves disconnecting it from the electrical panel and any connected devices, and then physically removing the wires from the walls or ceilings. Be careful not to damage any existing wiring or the building structure. When installing new lighting or outlets, follow all applicable electrical codes and use approved materials and methods. Consider the potential future uses of the storage space when determining the number and location of lighting fixtures and outlets. If you anticipate needing to power tools or equipment in the future, install heavy-duty outlets and wiring. Ensure that the electrical system can handle the additional load. Consult the National Electrical Code, specifically Article 210.8 for ground fault circuit interrupter protection. While not specifically required for unfinished storage spaces, it is good practice to install ground fault circuit interrupter outlets in any damp or wet locations. Ground fault circuit interrupters protect against electrical shock by detecting imbalances in the electrical current and quickly shutting off the power. Consider the placement of the light switch for convenient access when entering the storage space. A three-way switch configuration may be beneficial if there are multiple entrances or exits. This allows you to control the light from more than one location. Ensure that all wiring is properly supported and secured to prevent it from sagging or becoming damaged. Use cable ties or staples to keep the wires in place. Label all circuits clearly at the electrical panel to make it easy to identify them in the future. This will be helpful for troubleshooting and maintenance. If you're unsure about any aspect of the electrical work, consult a qualified electrician. They can provide expert guidance and ensure that the work is done safely and correctly. Consider using energy-efficient lighting fixtures such as light-emitting diode fixtures to reduce energy consumption and save money on your electricity bill. Light-emitting diode fixtures also have a longer lifespan than traditional incandescent bulbs, which means you won't have to replace them as often. When selecting wiring for the lighting and outlet circuits, use the appropriate gauge wire for the expected load. The National Electrical Code specifies the minimum wire size for different ampacities. Using undersized wire can create a fire hazard. Protect the wiring from physical damage by running it through conduit or installing it in a protective location. This is especially important in unfinished storage spaces where the wiring may be exposed to potential damage. Consider installing a dedicated circuit for the storage space to prevent overloading existing circuits. This will ensure that the electrical system can handle the load without tripping breakers. When connecting wires to outlets and switches, use proper wiring techniques to ensure a secure and reliable connection. Loose or poorly connected wires can create a fire hazard. Use a torque screwdriver to tighten the screws on the terminals to the specified torque. Inspect the wiring regularly for any signs of damage or deterioration. If you find any problems, have them repaired by a qualified electrician. Keep the storage space clean and free of clutter to prevent fire hazards. Avoid storing flammable materials near electrical equipment. Install smoke detectors in the storage space to provide early warning of a fire. Test the smoke detectors regularly to ensure that they are working properly. Consider installing a carbon monoxide detector in the storage space if it is located near a furnace or other fuel-burning appliance. Carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless gas that can be deadly. Maintain a clear path of egress from the storage space in case of an emergency. Make sure that the stairs and hallways are well lit and free of obstructions. Develop an emergency plan for the storage space and make sure that everyone who uses the space is familiar with the plan. The plan should include procedures for evacuating the space in case of fire or other emergency. Provide training to employees on electrical safety and hazard awareness. Employees should be able to identify potential electrical hazards and know how to respond to them. Conduct regular safety audits of the storage space to identify and correct any potential hazards. This will help to ensure that the space is safe for everyone who uses it. Keep records of all electrical work performed in the storage space, including permits, inspections, and maintenance records. This will be helpful for future reference and for demonstrating compliance with electrical codes. Consider using arc fault circuit interrupter breakers to protect the lighting and outlet circuits in the storage space. Arc fault circuit interrupters detect dangerous electrical arcs and quickly shut off the power to prevent fires. Arc fault circuit interrupters are required in many new construction projects and are a good safety measure for any electrical system. If the storage space is used for commercial purposes, consider installing emergency lighting to provide illumination in the event of a power outage. Emergency lighting can help people to evacuate the space safely. Ensure that all electrical equipment used in the storage space is properly grounded. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the electrical panel, which helps to prevent electrical shock. Consider using surge protectors to protect electronic equipment from voltage spikes. Voltage spikes can damage or destroy electronic equipment. Surge protectors can help to absorb these spikes and protect the equipment. If the storage space is located in an area that is prone to lightning strikes, consider installing a lightning protection system. A lightning protection system can help to protect the building and its contents from damage caused by lightning strikes. Ensure that all electrical work is performed by qualified personnel who are licensed and insured. This will help to ensure that the work is done safely and correctly and that you are protected from liability in case of an accident. The National Electrical Code has specific requirements for wiring methods in different types of locations. Make sure that the wiring method you use is appropriate for the storage space. For example, if the storage space is damp or wet, you will need to use a wiring method that is approved for wet locations. The National Electrical Code also has requirements for the spacing of outlets and lighting fixtures. Make sure that the outlets and lighting fixtures are spaced appropriately to provide adequate illumination and convenience. The National Electrical Code requires that all electrical equipment be listed by a recognized testing laboratory such as Underwriters Laboratories. Listed equipment has been tested and certified to meet safety standards. Use only listed equipment in the storage space. The National Electrical Code requires that all electrical equipment be installed in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. Follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully to ensure that the equipment is installed correctly and safely. The National Electrical Code requires that all electrical equipment be maintained in good working order. Inspect the electrical equipment regularly and repair any damage or defects. The National Electrical Code requires that all electrical work be inspected by a qualified electrical inspector. The electrical inspector will verify that the work has been done in accordance with the electrical code and that it is safe. Obtain all necessary permits before starting any electrical work. Permits are required for most electrical work and are necessary to ensure that the work is done in accordance with the electrical code. Keep a copy of the electrical permit and inspection report on file for future reference. This will be helpful if you ever need to show that the electrical work was done legally and safely. Consider using a qualified electrical contractor to perform the electrical work. A qualified electrical contractor will have the experience and expertise to do the work safely and correctly. Get several bids from different electrical contractors before hiring one. Compare the bids carefully and choose the contractor who offers the best value. Check the references of any electrical contractor you are considering hiring. Talk to previous customers to see if they were satisfied with the contractor's work. Make sure that the electrical contractor is licensed and insured. This will protect you from liability in case of an accident. Get a written contract from the electrical contractor before starting any work. The contract should specify the scope of the work, the price, and the payment terms. Read the contract carefully before signing it. Keep a copy of the contract on file for future reference. Supervise the electrical contractor's work to ensure that it is being done properly. If you have any concerns, discuss them with the contractor immediately. Do not make any changes to the electrical system without consulting a qualified electrician. Unauthorized changes can be dangerous and may violate the electrical code. If you are selling the property, disclose any electrical work that has been done. This will help to avoid any problems with the sale. Keep all electrical records organized and accessible. This will be helpful for future reference and for demonstrating compliance with electrical codes. Review the electrical system regularly to identify any potential problems. Address any problems promptly to prevent them from becoming more serious. Consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns about the electrical system. They can provide expert advice and guidance. Ensure any devices, for example smoke detectors, are in compliance with local and federal laws.